There is something deeply unsettling happening in the world of hip-hop right now, and Nicki Minaj might just be the one brave enough to expose it. The internet is on fire, timelines are exploding, and everyone is whispering the same thing. Did Gucci Mane really come back from prison as someone else? When Nicki hinted that she was ready to spill the real tea, fans went wild, because this is not just celebrity gossip anymore. This is industry-level conspiracy, the kind of story that sends chills down your spine. And honestly, Nicki might want to keep her security tight after this, because if what she is about to reveal is true, some very powerful people will not like it. The higher-ups never do. See, Gucci went to jail as one person, and came out looking different. Not just physically, his vibe, his voice, his aura, everything felt refurbished. Social media could not stop talking. "That is not Gucci," one fan wrote on Twitter. "That is a whole simulation." And then, the theories began. Some said his wife, Keisha Cowher, was not just his partner, she was his handler. Assigned to watch him, control him, keep him in line. It sounded wild at first, but the deeper you dig, the darker it gets. Back in the day, Nicki and even Gucci's ex tried to warn people. But the internet turned on them, dragging them through the mud. They were mocked, ridiculed, called jealous, bitter, crazy. Yet now, years later, as the truth starts to seep through the cracks, people are going back to those old interviews, those ignored warnings, and realizing maybe Nicki was right all along. The so-called Gucci clone rumor first exploded in 2013, right after one of the wildest Twitter meltdowns in hip-hop history. Gucci was tweeting like a man possessed, calling out everyone, spilling secrets nobody was supposed to know. He claimed he had slept with Nicki Minaj and Blac Chyna, accused his crew of betrayal, and kicked Waka Flocka Flame out of Brick Squad, accusing him of being a traitor. Fans were in shock. The man sounded unhinged, completely gone. Then, suddenly, silence. A prison sentence. A mysterious comeback. A brand new face. A brand new body. A calm, controlled tone that felt programmed. It was like someone had turned the volume down on his soul. And that is when the whispers started. Was the old Gucci erased? Replaced? Or worse, cloned? The streets were already talking, but nobody was ready for what came next. Gucci Mane, once the unshakable trap legend, was now at the center of something darker, something that felt less like a comeback and more like a cover-up. It all started the night the police pulled him over. Witnesses say Gucci was acting wild, threatening drivers, swerving through traffic, completely out of control. When the cops showed up, things got violent fast. He resisted, lashed out, and when they finally restrained him, the truth spilled out of his pockets, a firearm, and hard substances. It was chaos. But what made it worse? This was not his first time. Just months before, he had already made headlines for attacking a man inside a nightclub, smashing a champagne bottle straight across the guy's head. Blood everywhere. Fans said Gucci was spiraling, the industry whispered he was becoming a liability. "He needs help before it's too late," one radio host said. But the truth? Help came in a way nobody expected. He was sentenced to 3 years behind bars, but served only 2. When he came out, he was different, not just emotionally, but physically. Too different. While inside, Gucci admitted something the world had long suspected. He confessed to a decade-long addiction to lean, the syrupy poison that had been eating him alive. He tweeted, raw and unfiltered, from his hospital bed, "I am ashamed. I am embarrassed. I want to apologize to my family, my fans, my friends. I've been addicted for over 10 years. It destroyed me." His words felt real, human. People wanted to believe that this was a redemption story. But then, the new Gucci stepped out. And that's when everything changed. The man who emerged from prison looked reborn. The bloated face was gone, the slurred speech replaced by calm clarity, his body suddenly carved and shredded like he had been built in a lab. Fans were divided, half said it was the glow-up of the century, the other half whispered, "Clone." TikTok threads started comparing his tattoos. Reddit users zoomed in on his jawline. "This is not the same man," one comment read, "Look at the eyes. They're empty." And just when things started cooling down, rumors exploded again, this time from inside the prison walls. A few of Gucci's alleged cellmates claimed he never left that facility alive. They said the Gucci who walked out was not the one who went in. And then came the confession that sent the internet into total meltdown. Rapper Hopsin got on Instagram and admitted he was the clone. Dead serious. He said government agents had approached him, threatened his family, and forced him to take Gucci's place to cover up his death. The internet went feral. Comment sections flooded with "I knew it," "They replaced him," and "This is MK Ultra level stuff." But it did not stop there. Gucci's ex-girlfriend, Mac Brazy, joined the storm, going live on Instagram and dropping bomb after bomb. She said flat out, "Gucci died in prison. They cloned him." She described seeing him after his release, how his face looked unfamiliar, how his energy was off, how his spirit felt gone. When she tried confronting Keisha Kawir, Gucci's wife, she brushed it off, cool, composed, like someone who already knew too much. Mac did not stay quiet. She released a diss track 2 weeks later, a lyrical explosion accusing Keisha of covering up Gucci's death and acting as his handler. Fans could not believe it. Was this grief, jealousy, or the truth screaming through auto-tune? Then, just as the clone theory reached its peak, Gucci himself finally responded. But instead of denying it, he said something haunting. He spoke about transformation, how prison had stripped him down to his soul, how he had to peel off layers of himself that no longer served him. I did not just lose weight, he said in an interview, I lost the emotional weight too. I stopped clinging to people who wanted me small. I changed my thinking. I changed my environment. I grew up. His words were poetic, too poetic, some would say. Fans replayed his speech over and over, torn between believing a man's redemption or witnessing a performance scripted by someone else. But then, just when we thought the story could not possibly go darker, Nicki Minaj stepped into the chat. The internet froze. Nicki's entrance shifted the energy completely. She was not there to gossip, she was there to expose. And she came with fire. She accused Keisha of being more than just a wife, she called her a handler, controlled by the very industry forces that had allegedly reprogrammed Gucci. It sounded insane, until she dropped her receipts. Nicki's words cut like glass, they want to control him. And when I say they, I mean the ones who control the industry. Her tweets went viral within minutes. Commentators said it felt less like a rant and more like a warning. She even connected dots to other media figures, hinting that certain people were being used to dismantle Wendy Williams the same way Keisha was allegedly used to silence Gucci. The timeline exploded. Hashtags like hashtag Gucci clone, hashtag Nicki exposed it, and hashtag handler theory trended for days. Fans dissected every clip, every interview, every smile that looked too rehearsed. People compared Gucci's pre-prison laugh with his new, controlled grin. Some said he had found peace. Others said, peace does not erase a person's essence. What if Nicki was not stirring drama, but trying to save a man who was no longer in control of his own body? When Nicki Minaj typed those words, the internet stopped breathing. Gucci's wife has been trying to be me for years, she tweeted. Been dying for the spotlight for years. She's there to keep Gucci sedated. And just like that, chaos. It was not just a tweet, it was a bullet fired straight into the heart of the industry. Every syllable carried venom and truth, like poetry written in gasoline. Her next words hit even harder. Charlemagne the Fraud is Jay-Z's friend and business associate. Using iHeartRadio for these disgusting PS against innocent families. He was around Wendy before her life went to hell. The buck stops here, baby. Boom. The digital world imploded. Threads, screenshots, old interviews, everything resurfaced. Within hours, fan pages turned into investigation units. Reddit detectives built timelines, TikTok creators connected facial expressions to secret motives. It felt less like gossip and more like watching a coded war between gods play out on social media. But behind Nicki's fire was something deeper, exhaustion. Beneath the shade and confrontation was a woman who had seen too much and been silenced too often. She was not just tweeting, she was purging. Her words came from the same place as every woman who's been dismissed, twisted, and misunderstood by an industry that profits off her pain. This was not pettiness. It was reclamation. And the way she phrased it, the rhythm, the precision, it was like a diary entry written by someone who finally stopped caring about consequences. Every tweet read like the moment before thunder hits. Fans could feel it, this was personal. Some called her crazy. Others called her courageous. But one truth echoed across every platform, Nicki had stopped playing nice. Meanwhile, Kesha, silent, calculated, stayed composed. Too composed. That calmness? It made the internet spiral even harder. Some said she was ignoring Nicki to stay classy. Others said she was following orders from someone who owned the truth. Because once Nicki dropped the word handler, everything changed. That word carried the weight of every conspiracy Hollywood has ever buried. Control. Programming. Puppets. The idea that some celebrities were not living their lives, they were being lived through. The debate turned nuclear. Fans zoomed in on Gucci's post-prison interviews, comparing how he glanced at Kesha before answering. See that, one YouTuber said. She nods before he speaks. She's feeding him his lines. The comments flooded with agreement. She controls him. Look at his eyes. That's not Gucci. She's his handler. Theories collided with personal stories. People began connecting it to their own experiences, toxic partners, manipulative bosses, fake friends. Suddenly, Gucci's alleged clone was not just a rumor, it became a mirror. A symbol of what happens when you lose yourself to someone else's control. Nicki's confrontation also cracked open something even uglier, the way fame consumes authenticity. The entertainment world thrives on control, and Nicki's accusations painted it like a modern-day plantation, artists as products, handlers as keepers, and executives as gods. Whether cloning was literal or symbolic no longer mattered. What mattered was that the machine was real. Then came the Charlemagne twist. Nicki's accusation, that he used iHeartRadio to manipulate narratives, sent shockwaves through the media world. For the first time, fans questioned the architecture of influence itself. Was entertainment just propaganda in glitter? How many stories had been rewritten, reputations destroyed, and voices muted to serve hidden agendas? When she mentioned Wendy Williams, the room went silent. Everyone remembered Wendy's downfall, the tears, the stumbles, the silence. Nicki's tweet was not random, it was a call-out. Look at who benefits when women fall apart, she was saying. Look at who gets promoted when we get destroyed. And that hit deep. Because it was no longer about Gucci or clones. It was about control, survival, and the emotional cost of staying authentic in a system that thrives on breaking you down. It was about every time a woman had to scream louder just to be heard, only to be labeled crazy for it. And in between all that noise, fans began sharing their own stories. I changed, one wrote. And people said I was fake. Another said, growth scares the ones who refuse to evolve. Nicki's storm had turned into a movement, not of gossip, but of awakening. Still, the internet could not let go of the darker side. Screenshots of Gucci's old interviews resurfaced. He doesn't visit his old friends anymore, one person tweeted. His wife tells him what to say. Others went further, the real Gucci died in prison. His cellmate confessed, and then suddenly, that man ended up dead too. Every post felt like another puzzle piece in a mystery that refused to die. And somewhere between fact and fiction, truth and paranoia, one haunting question kept echoing through every timeline. What if Nicki Minaj is not crazy, but correct? Because maybe, just maybe, the industry does not want her silenced because she is dramatic, but because she is dangerous. And if that is the case, baby, the story is just getting started. It always starts the same way, a whisper in a comment section, a throwaway line on a fan page, a joke that slowly stops sounding funny. That is how the Gucci clone theory began. People remembered the old Gucci, the chaos, the heavy drawl, the unpredictable rage that defined trap's most volatile king. Then, after prison, he re-emerged like a ghost rewritten, slimmer, calmer, eyes clearer, smile softer. The internet did what it does best, it obsessed. How could a man so notoriously reckless come out reborn, almost manufactured? Some fans called it growth. Others called it a replacement. Soon the theory spread like wildfire through Twitter threads and Reddit rabbit holes. Users compared mugshots, analyzed tattoos, even measured jawlines pixel by pixel. His voice sounds different, one commenter wrote. His laugh used to echo, now it feels programmed. What began as gossip morphed into digital folklore, a myth of modern celebrity, born from pixels and paranoia. And then? Nicki spoke. Nicki Minaj, the one woman who could turn a rumor into a revolution. Every tweet she posted was a detonation. She did not name names, she did not have to. They replaced him, she wrote, and suddenly, the internet lost its mind. Her words carried the eerie rhythm of prophecy, and people read them like scripture. Because when an insider talks like that, you listen. The deeper fans dug, the darker it became. Threads connected Gucci's transformation to other celebrity mysteries, Kodak Black, Avril Lavigne, even Michael Jackson's warnings before his death. It all started to sound like a pattern. The moment artists speak out, they are dismissed as crazy. Until years later, when the pieces start to make sense. Nicki's voice became dangerous, not because she was wrong, but because she was not supposed to be right. She had seen the machine from the inside. She knew how narratives are built, how silence is bought, how power decides who gets to survive the spotlight. When she tweeted, "I know things y'all would not believe," fans leaned in, breath held, like they were hearing the final truth before the blackout. And then she said it, LAPD, where's the evidence of my home being swatted 4 times with a toddler inside? The tone was not panic. It was accusation. She was pointing directly at the system, the one that manipulates headlines, suppresses evidence, and turns real fear into trending entertainment. That was when the internet shifted. This was no longer gossip, it was a war for reality itself. Every live stream was dissected frame by frame. Fans analyzed her pauses, her glances off camera. She's scared, someone wrote. You can see it in her eyes. Another replied, they're watching her. Because the pattern is always the same, first ridicule, then isolation, then silence. But this time, the people refused to look away. Every clip was saved, every post archived. Nicki's followers began to act like witnesses rather than fans. Because whether she was right or wrong, one thing was certain, she was terrified, and that terror felt contagious. The Gucci theory fed that fear. "That's not him," one fan wrote under a new interview. "His wife tells him what to say." Others claimed the real Gucci died in prison, that a cellmate tried to speak out and vanished soon after. Every rumor became evidence, every silence became confirmation. And somewhere in the noise, the story outgrew its subject. It stopped being about Gucci Mane and started being about us, about identity, manipulation, and what happens when fame eats the soul. Maybe the clone theory is not literal. Maybe it is a metaphor for how the industry replaces people with profitable versions of themselves, the obedient, brand-safe doubles that smile on cue while the real human disappears backstage. The body remains, but the essence? Deleted. Still, others swear it is literal. They talk about laboratories, contracts, and synthetic consciousness, fragments of files that appear online, then vanish. Blurry screenshots. Coded language. Almost proof. Always almost. The result is a cultural fever dream: podcasts, think pieces, and late-night live streams breaking down industry cloning, celebrity replacements, soul transfers. It is no longer entertainment, it is existential. Because beneath the paranoia lies a deeper truth: we do not trust what we see anymore. Filters alter faces. Algorithms choose what we love. Corporations manufacture authenticity like a product line. So when someone says, "That is not the real Gucci," maybe they are not talking about him at all. Maybe they are talking about the world itself. A world where power wears masks, and the only thing more terrifying than being replaced is realizing you already have been. When Gucci Mane walked out of prison, smiling, calm, and reformed, the world should have cheered. Redemption should have been the headline. Transformation should have been the story. But instead, people doubted it. And that says everything about where we are now. Somehow, we've reached a point where growth looks suspicious. Where peace looks fake. Where a man healing himself feels more like a glitch in the matrix than a miracle. People do not believe in redemption anymore, only in replacement. Because that is what the system taught us: never trust what looks too perfect. Maybe that was the plan all along, to keep us questioning the wrong things. Because confusion is control. If we are too busy doubting each other, we will never start doubting the system itself. And in the middle of this chaos stands Nicki Minaj, half prophet, half warning. Her tweets read like encrypted messages, her live streams feel like confessions from someone standing too close to the edge. She knows eyes are on her, not just the fans and the tabloids, but the other eyes, the ones that never blink. And yet, she keeps speaking. Because for her, silence is a slow death. Every "bring it," every "let's play" is not shade anymore, it is defiance. It is a woman daring the truth to reveal itself. It is a woman saying, "If I go down, I will go down talking." But this game she is playing? It is not a game you win. Everyone remembers what happens to those who talk too much, the stars who overdosed, the ones who crashed, the ones who simply disappeared. In this industry, truth has a body count. And fans know it. That is why they keep posting, "Protect Nicki." Not just physically.